You'll learn how to register different types of inputs such as string, data, checkbox, radio, files in React Hook form, how to validate with yup using yupResolver or write your own resolver, how to create reusable components using generic and offer types by React Hook form, and how to integrate the library with others such as Material UI, Chakra UI, and AntDesign. Performance is one of the primary reasons why this library was created. React Hook form relies on uncontrolled components. This approach reduces the amount of re-rendering that occurs due to a user typing in input or other form values changing at the root of your form or applications. Now let's get started! We also use Next.js and some minimal styles for forms and inputs. One of the key concepts in React Hook form is to register our uncontrolled component into the hook. This will make its value available for both the form validation and submission. The first example is a simple form in which we register two inputs named example and example required. UseForm is a custom hook for managing forms with ease. It takes optional arguments such as modes that allows us to configure the validation strategy before the user submits the form, resolver, revalidate, and many more. You can find all of them in the documentation. The basic registration is done using the register function. This method allows us to register an input or select element and apply validation rules to React Hook form. Validation rules are all based on the HTML standard and also allow for custom validation methods. The list of validation rules includes required, min, max length pattern, and validate for custom validators. By invoking the register function and supplying an input's name, we will receive onChange, onBlur, name, and ref. The name is required and unique. Handle submit. This function will receive the form data if form validation is successful. Watch is used to keep track of changes to the example field. It's like onChange. This will watch specify the inputs and return their values. It is useful for determining what to render. If the validation does not pass, the errors are put in form state. React Hook Form embraces uncontrolled components and native inputs. However, it's hard to avoid working with external controlled components such as React Select, AntDesign, and Material UI. This wrapper component will make it easier for us to work with them. I will show you later how to integrate. The controller parameters are name, which must be unique and it is the name of our input. Control object is from invoking useForm, optional when using form provider. Render, which is a render prop, a function that returns a React element and provides the ability to attach events and value into the component. This simplifies integrating with external controlled components with non-standard prop names. Provides onChange, onBlur, name, ref, and value to the child component, and also a fill state object which contains specific input state, default values, and validation rules that are similar to those for register. React Hook Form supports schema-based form validation with yup, Zod, Superstruct, and Joy, where we can pass our schema to use form as an optional config. React Hook Form will validate our input data against the schema and return with either errors or a valid result. For validation, we use the yup library. This allows us to define the validation rules in a yup schema that React Hook Form will use to set the errors if the rules are not followed by the values given as input. Instead of writing the type in Typescript, we can write the yup schema and then infer the type. If you do not want to use yupResolver, you can create a custom hook to do this. I'll show you quickly how to do it using the useCallback hook. I assume you know how to work with this hook. Because it is not the purpose of the clip, I will use any as a type everywhere in this custom hook. We extend the yup schema by adding the gender field, which will contain as value one of those of the gender enumeration. If the user can select several options, we will use checkbox inputs. To store nested data, we will use the notation with a dot, such as interests.reading, interests.music, and so on. For file type inputs, we will store the reference because remember, they are uncontrolled React inputs. Custom inputs. Because we want to reuse the components, we will use generic types such as tform values, which indicate that we will store objects with the string key and any value so that the form component can be used with any type of data. In order to have access to the methods returned by useForm, we will define as children a function that has a parameter methods, but through destructuring we obtain more easily the methods like register that we have to use. Forward ref is used to be able to transmit the reference received from React hook form to the HTML input. There are also other HTML attributes that we will definitely need at some point, so we use detailed HTML props. Integrations. In this part I will show you quickly how to integrate the React Hook Form library with popular UI libraries such as Material UI, Chakra UI, and AntDesign. Regardless of the library used, we will need a controller wrapper which uses the onBlur, onChange methods and value field in the render function, which we can pass on to the input component of the library we have chosen. What do you think about the React Hook form library? If you have any questions, write in the comments. Will you use this library in your projects? I invite you to subscribe, like and share to learn programming fast. Activate notifications by clicking on the bell. Thanks for watching!